A very good evening to you all and welcome to a David Inset truly live programme 242 here on a lovely day, March the 9th. Isn't the weather fantastic at the moment? I suppose we should make the most of it because according to most of the weather charts, on Tuesday it's just going to go really cold again during the day and indeed at night. Not that it's been warm at night anyway. Absolutely, Jean. We a good dose. I think that's a good choice of word. It's very good to see you. So, as I say, welcome back. I'm sorry we were not live last week, and I'm also sorry that you had some weird disruption at the beginning of that program. I did get a notification from YouTube to say that they were doing various things on YouTube. So, yes. That opening music, we should have had a month ago, but something happened and we changed the music. It's quite interesting. I'll tell you why in a minute. That was the theme music to Willo the Wisp. Do we remember that one? Willo the Wisp and Mavis Cruitt and Arthur and especially Evil Edna. What a bizarre and wonderful programme that was. As, of course, narrated by the wonderful Mr. Kenneth Williams. And yes, 1981 was when that programme came out, and the sort of character, the animated blue icon of Kenneth really came about because the person who designed the programme Willo the Wisp also designed the 1975 British gas flame advert. I know. That's what you were thinking straight away, wasn't it? A jolly little bit of music is Willo the Wisp, and as I say, a funny little programme. Lots and lots of fun. Yes, Bob, sad at times and a bit creepy at times, actually. Just quite odd as a programme. Its composer was Mr. Tony KINSEY, a jazz drummer and composer. And this is why I say it's sort of quite interesting, because the day on which I was going to play that as our opening music, February the 9th, sadly, Tony KINSEY passed away on February the 9th, the very day I was going to play it. He was 97. He had a wonderful life. And Willo the Wisp was one of his creations from 1981. Yes, Kenneth Williams being, well, Kenneth Williams, as he is in everything that he does, totally over the top and just enjoying every moment of it. Anyway, here we are on a David Inset, programme 242. So I do hope you enjoy what we have on offer for you this evening. As always, if you are live with us and in the chat room, and if you wish to take part in the conversation, then please do talk about the music composer with context or anything else that we do talk about on this edition of the Open University, as it's also known. Hello, Martin, and hello, Jeannie. Fantastic. That's really very kind of you. Well, it's a full-time hobby, shall we say, so we enjoy doing it. And do enjoy the programme. This piece of music, this is interesting. Well, it's all interesting, I know. We've only had once, according to my records, I've checked my lists twice and thrice and more. Only once in 5 years, and I don't really know why. It's a great tune, and I hope you will enjoy it, even if you don't know it. Now, I did worry when I pressed that button that you would all be taken down the wrong garden path, as it were. No, I only put that bit of spring footage up just to welcome this lovely weather, really. Nothing at all to do with the song. But as I said before, there's always a bit of a connection back to the previous week, and the connection this time is the composer, Mr. George Gershwin. Yes, him again. And the song was called Mine, and it's from 1933, and it's from the musical Let 'Em Eat Cake, which, a bit like last week's A Musical Strike Up the Band, was a bit of a flop. It was just not popular. It was too political at the time. But the net result of all these Gershwin flops is that we are left with some wonderful songs from that show. Of course, Let 'Em Eat Cake, the title song, and also that one, Mine, which I rather like. It's a rather clever song, the way it interweaves its various tunes together. And earlier on, when I knew I'd be playing it, I was thinking, well, how did I come by this tune? And I did remember eventually how I learned this tune. I was given a cassette. Do we remember those? Some of you do. Of Gershwin music, which somebody had asked me to transcribe, and that was on it. And I remember it being a very, very nice song to learn. So I do hope you enjoyed our opening one all the way back from 1933, Mine by George Gershwin, as always. If you enjoy A Date with a Dinner Set and the channel, and you want to press the thumbs up button, then please do. It will be most gratefully received. Will your thumb? And also, obviously, going along with that, it doesn't apply to you all in the chat room, but if you've happened upon this and you're not already, then please do consider subscribing to this channel, Gigi the Piano Man. It is the likes and the comments which help the algorithm to find us. I have a feeling I might have said that once or twice, or 120 twice before, actually. But it really is true. It is the likes and the comments, the engagement, which actually help the YouTube channel. Yes, indeed, Bob. Indeed, indeed. Well, there we go. That was our... I was about to say good night then, but it's not quite that time yet, is it? I'll have a bit more coffee, and then... yes, indeed. Walkman cassettes. Fantastic. Iconic. Bit more coffee, and then we'll go on with our next bit of music. Do enjoy. An astute comment is somewhere there in the chat room, I feel sure. I'll find it later. About Tonight, I do know what you mean. It's a very similar chord sequence, actually. And Jill, yes, you are correct. It was from Kiss Me Kate, the 1948 musical of which I am so fond. And almost every song in that show is an absolute cracker of a hit, composed by Mr. Cole Porter. There he is, smiling away as he puffs away on cigarette number 172 of the day. The title of that song was Were Thine That Special Face, and it's one of the highlights in that show for me, and it's a beautiful begin. A begin which became very popular in the 1930s as a dance form. It's the way I play it, Bob. That's why I didn't recognise it, you see. And part of the reason, actually, the begin, which is a slowed down rumba rhythm. Yes, even better than that one. Part of the reason that the begin became popular was because of Cole Porter, who had visited many of the islands in the Caribbean, and he wrote, of course, very famously, Begin the Begin, which, don't know, I'll go on a bit as a song, but that popularised or helped to spread the word about that wonderful dance to begin. So that's what it was. Were Thine That Special Face from Kiss Me Kate from 1948 by Mr. Cole Porter. So I was reading the news this week, well, bits of it anyway, and I was absolutely amazed to read that today is actually 5 years since COVID, and therefore there's a sort of day of reflection going on. It in some ways it seems a very long time ago in our lives, doesn't it? But in so many ways, the way that it affected so many people in so many ways, it is still very close. So yes, 5 years today. You heard it here. Thank you, Martin. Sometimes YouTube does take a little bit of time to catch up on that one. Yes, exactly. It sometimes doesn't do it for over an hour. It's very odd thing is YouTube. Right, on we go to our next bit of music. Bob, I'm just going to say yes to that, and you can take it whatever way you wish. Yes, it was as Hannah first identified by Michel Legrand, and then as that was Hannah again. How do you keep the music playing? One of my favourite Michel Legrand tracks. In fact, it was the very first track, very first video upload that went up on my channel 8 years ago. And it is the most popular video, most viewed, shall we say. I believe it's had about 6,000 views, which is globally epic for me. But how do you keep the music playing? From 1982, from the film Best Friend. It was nominated for an Oscar. It didn't actually get it, but a very, very nice song with beautiful lyrics by Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And it was produced by Quincy Jones and Johnny Mandel, and it charted quite well, particularly in the States. It's been covered a number of times, and one of my favourite covers is by Tony Bennett in duet with George Michael. Worth a listen, worth a listen, if you've not heard that one. You see, you're almost challenging me there, Alison, because I'm sure we have had the Mr. Men music, but I can't, because I'm trying to talk and sort of concentrate, I can't for the life of me think what the Mr. Men music is. So if someone could type in my tune, that would be absolutely great, and then we will play it. Mr. Men, Mr. Men, Mr. Men. It's not going to come to me live, I'm afraid. It's a great tune, though. Fantastic. So we're commemorating 5 years since COVID, but also today. Hello, Portugal. Fantastic to see you. Wow, glad to have you back. Excellent. Yeah, so 5 years since COVID, but also today, it's 25 years, apparently, since the London Eye, the Millennium Wheel, finally opened. I say finally. Those of us who were around at the turn of the century will remember a number of sort of projects which nearly didn't make it for them. Well, quite a few didn't actually, or if they did, then they had to be shut straight away. I'm looking at you, Millennium Bridge. But the wheel, it was up, but it wasn't operational until March the 9th. So obviously designed as a temporary structure, it is more or less still there. Well, no, not more or less. It is still there. I hope it does stay there because it is quite iconic. I've been on it 3 times, and at least half of one of those times I did get a view through the clouds. So yeah, a bit like the Eiffel Tower in that respect, that it was only meant to be a temporary structure. But an iconic landmark, 25 years young today. You hear it all here. It's fascinating stuff on this programme. It really is. I wish I could remember the Mr. Man tune. It's not going to happen. Well, not tonight anyway. I tell you what, here's a deal. If it suddenly comes to me while I'm playing something else, we'll just segue into it. I hope that's okay. Right, do enjoy the next one. Got it. Mr. Man. chat room is so lovely because you don't need much, do you, to set you off? You know, just an idea, and we're all off on our favourite Mr. Men and Little Mrs. Indeed, Miles Arthurlow's narration. So, just back to reality, if I can just interrupt your train of thought for a minute. That was, as you correctly identified, about a whole page of notes ago. Who was first? Well, brother, you were first with the composer, and then Barb and Miles almost simultaneously, followed by Jill with A Look of Love, which is what it was, what it is, what it still is, and was, and always is, and was. The Look of Love by Mr. Burt Bacharach. There he is. I believe that photo is taken when he did Glastonbury, and he was absolutely in tears, apparently, that the welcome he got at Glastonbury. That one comes all the way from... thank you very much. It's called The Spring Trim or something. Yeah, here we go. Mr. Men is still coming out. Yes, The Look of Love from 1967. And I don't know how well known this is, but it was actually from that absolutely terrible spoof film Casino Royale, which deserved to be much better if you consider the cast that was in it. But there we go. It was a great soundtrack. And The Look of Love played quite a large part in an extended sequence in that. It was written as an instrumental track, but Hal David added lyrics to it within a year, and Dusty Springfield made it famous. So there you go. You heard it here, folks. So before we go on to our next song, I want to talk about this week's... Yes, sorry, I need to answer that. In the little, what I call a trailer that runs for 10 minutes at the start of a live stream from 6:20, the reason we run a moving screen is just so you know you've sort of tuned in. But the pictures that I put up are always relevant either to the news or indeed they might be cryptic clues as to some of the songs that we are going to have in the show. Totally put myself off. Oh yes, this month's upload, it was suggested to me by another YouTuber. Actually said you should do a whole month of this composer. So in actual fact, the month of March, all the Friday uploads are by Henry Mancini, one of my great heroes, one of the great sounds, if you like, of the 1960s. And it seemed appropriate to start the ball rolling that Friday's upload should be perhaps one of his most iconic pieces, namely the theme tune to the Pink Panther, originally to the Pink Panther films from 1963, but then used extensively in the TV show, the cartoon show. Well, Mars, we've already had Baby Elephant Walk. We had that last month in my animal uploads month. So that is there on the channel, but it's also now in a new playlist called Henry Mancini Uploads, which contains two pieces so far, Baby Elephant Walk and the Pink Panther. So that did go up on Friday. There is a direct link underneath this video that will take you there if you wish to have a look. I had a lot of fun doing this one. It's on a bit of a slow traction, is the Pink Panther at the moment. I think it's only had about 45 views, which is quite odd. On the other hand, it's one of those bits of music that's all over the internet and sort of universally known. Never mind. Yes! Here we go. It doesn't take us long, does it, to talk about food. The Pink Panther candy bar, wasn't it? Yes, I do remember it was about yay big, and it probably cost about 1 pence or something. And it was pink and strawberry flavoured. Yes, indeed. Right. On with our next bit of music. Do enjoy. I say the ones you remember sound much better than ones we had in the UK. Fantastic. Indeed. Indeed. From Aladdin. From Aladdin, Prince. It is a cracking tune, isn't it? It was the big production number, if you like, in that 1992 iconic film, part of the Disney Renaissance. And of course, it wouldn't have been the same, would it, without the very talented but totally bizarre and mad as a box of frogs Robin Williams voicing the genie with all his improvisations. Yeah, and as composed by Alan Menken. and Howard Ashman. Unfortunately, Howard Ashman had actually passed away before production finished on Aladdin, but that was one of his songs, Prince Ali. Apparently, they wrote 14 songs for Aladdin, but only 7 made it to the cut. Such is the way that Hollywood works. Yes, Alison. Do you know I was watching my animals parading across in Prince Ali's parade and hoping they would all get in safely before the music finished, and luckily they did. So we've talked about some of the things we've been either commemorating or celebrating today, but of course I know what you're saying. We can't let this program finish on March the 9th without talking about the fact that today is National Paddlefish Day, the 9th of March. There were quite a few choices of things we could celebrate today when I looked them up. And this one appealed because it's such a stupid-looking creature, but quite wonderful as well. And apparently it's been around for about 300 million years. I did have to check that figure. But yeah, it is before the dinosaurs. Quite a bizarre thing. It is a bit endangered. And then, of course, I needed to look up, most importantly to me, can you eat the thing? Well, yes, it's a bit sort of full of cartilage, a bit like skate, apparently. So if you can actually get through the skin and the cartilage, apparently it's quite tasty. The size, I know it's difficult to judge, apparently is around about 1.5. They grow up to about 1.5 meters, and they live between 8 and 14 years. You heard it here on Open University Meets a Date with a Dinner Set, National Paddlefish Day. Hope you enjoyed that one. So at that point, it's time to launch into our final bit of music, a gentle one to finish. We have had it before. It seemed quite appropriate for this time of year. So I do hope that you will enjoy our gentle final bit of music before we say goodnight in our usual way. excellent to all of that. And yes, Jill, something to do with daffodils, and then tulips. I thought we'd wait a few weeks for the tulips, maybe on Mother's Day. And then, as Martin and Jeannie correctly identified, swaying daffodils. A really, really, really nice piece, composed, we think, around about 1937 by Arthur Overlade, one of these people you can't really find out anything about, let alone a picture, but we think he was from Salt Lake City, and he was a music teacher and a choir master over there, and that is a very beautiful beautiful bit of music which is out of print. I transcribed it from somebody else's YouTube video. It is a nice bit of music, so I do hope you enjoyed that one, Swaying Daffodils, and that does bring us to the end of this evening's 8-8 with Interset programme 242 on March the 9th. Thank you so much for being with us and for your, as always, amusing and fascinating chat. To read, I'll read it all back later on. Boom, boom. Thank you, Miles, for that one. What a cracker on which to finish. And on that note, I will say thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves, and I look forward to playing for you again next week. Thank you very much. Good night.